Everyone, today was the 9th round of the Chess Olympiad 2022 and what a thrilling round we had. We are now getting to the far end of this tournament and medals are already in view for all the players. First, let's begin with the India 2 team. The youngsters who have played amazing chess beat USA yesterday. Today they were up against the very strong Azerbaijani team. On board number 1, we had Gukesh playing over there. He faced Shakhriyar Mamedyarov and Gukesh played a really nice game. He was putting pressure on his opponent but couldn't get a full point. It was a draw but a nice game by Gukesh. So his streak is broken, 8.5 out of 9. Next, we move to the game of Nihal Sarin. Nihal Sarin was slightly better at some point. Actually, he was worse for majority of the game, but in the end, he got his chance. However, Nihal doesn't seem to be his really sharp self and he missed it and the game ended in a draw. Now, the scores are tied at 1-1. We move to the most exciting two games. First, we move to Raunak Sadhwani's game. Now, this is a game which you won't believe what just happened. Raunak playing here was worse throughout the game. He has been fighting, he's black. Black pawn is going here, he's a pawn down. White pawns are going this way. Now, Raunak touched the rook and everyone in the commentary room was sure he was going to play the rook to b1. But guess what Raunak did? He played rook a2. And guys, can you spot the winning move for white here? Of course, Nijat Abbasov simply took rook takes f7. And here, king takes f7 is met with bishop b3 check and you lose the rook. It's, such a mistake hardly ever happens from a player like Raunak's caliber, and you can see how upset he was. His score sheet is still over here. He did not take it and it's very unfortunate because Raunak is such a wonderful bullet blitz player. He never makes mistakes like this, but this is the pressure of the Olympiad. Now the score was 2-1 in the favor of Azerbaijan. What to do? Pragnananda playing here on this board. He has the white pieces. And guys, this game was filled with ups and downs aplenty. We finally reached this position where Prag has just moved his rook and given a check to the black king. Over here, Durar Beylivasev had to just play king to f7 and he would have actually won the game. Why? Because after rook takes g4, he can now play knight d2 and the bishop is pinned. And it's over. Actually, black is going to win this. Instead, he played his king to h7. And what did Prag do? Now he took. And the problem is, now if you go knight d2, then there is the bishop d3 check winning the rook. So if the king was here, there was no check. This was a big miss here. And after rook takes g4, he couldn't play this. So he played his pawn to d4. Now Prag found a very nice move, which is rook to g6. And when he went back queen e7, guess what did Prag do here? Try to pause the video and figure out. Of course, Prag found this beautiful move, bishop d3. You can't take the queen because there is a check and you lose the queen. And in the game, it was already all over. Bishop had come out and Pragnananda had won. So Vasif played queen a3. In came rook e6 check, takes, rook takes e1, knight takes e1, and after queen takes e1, Prag has, 4 pawns up and he managed to win. That was a narrow escape and the heartbeats of the entire nation were going up and down. But finally, 2-2 draw. And it was, I think, a pretty decent result for Team India because at some point it looked like we were gone, we were going to lose this. With this, the youngsters now move to 15 points out of 18 and we'll talk about what the pairings are later. But first, let's go to the women's board. Now, in the women's board, India faced Poland. And Humpy on board number 1 against Alina Kashlinskaya was super solid with the black pieces. Just what we needed. Draw. We move to Harika's game and today it seemed like Harika was going to strike. Why? Look at this position that she had. This was super aggressive. She has the H file completely open, the 2 rooks lined up. And here, Harika had to kind of figure out what to do. The best move here was to push the pawn to g4. Why? Because after knight takes d4, the queen swoops over to h3 and now it's a mating attack. Rook takes h7 is threatened. There is no way to prevent it. Harika would have just won the game. Instead, what Harika did here was that she pushed her pawn to f5, and this also looks very strong. But somehow, after takes, now there is no queen switching. The queen is attacked, so she took, queen takes, and there is something here that she might have missed. At this point, she played her knight to g4, but in came a check on d2. And now if you move your king away, the h-file coordination is broken. So the queen came back, and after takes, king takes, gf5, knight f6 check, king g7, knight takes e8, rook takes e8. Black had sufficient counterplay to hold the balance even though she is a pawn down, even though she is an exchange down, because all the pawns are weak. In this way, Harika actually missed a big opportunity to win. But guys, Harika is pregnant and she has been playing since the last 6 rounds. She didn't play the first 3 rounds, but she has been playing at a stretch. Imagine the amount of stress and imagine the amount of, dedication that she has. Also, I want to show the viewers that this is a special arrangement that the organizers have made for Harika, because so that this is softer, there's no hard table, and she also has a special chair for herself. So now the score was tied at 1-1. Tanya drew her game against Maria Malika, also a draw, so 1.5, and again it all boiled down to the game of Vaishali. And guys, another amazing rook endgame. This is the position on the board, and I have a feeling that this is winning for white. Now, everyone was analyzing this endgame. Here, it seems like it should be a draw, but there are some plans where you bring your king over somewhere and then you try to break with h4 at the right time. But in the game, Vaishali went wrong. She played Oliva Kolbasa went wrong. She's the player who scored 8 out of 8. She went wrong with h4. Now, Vaishali should have taken. And after takes, play her king to g6. Because if h5, she can put her king to f5 and it's all good for black. Black is doing very well because next move, even if white king comes here, you just move your king, win this pawn and push this pawn down the board. But Vaishali went wrong. She played in this position. She did not take. She went king g6. And now her position is lost. Why? Because after h5, this is now problematic. If you go here in this position, then the king later, after coming here, will walk down all the way and win this pawn. Remember that the black rook can do nothing because the white rook moves and it queens. So that's the reason why Vaishali played her king back, but in came f4, and after takes, there came f5 later, and at the right moment, the move h6 break came into the picture, and already it became very tough. Vaishali lost this game, and with this, India loses its sole lead in the women's tournament, but they are still not going, they still have the gold medal hopes because they are still on 15 points and other teams have joined in like Poland, I think Ukraine, Georgia. But if they play well in the last 2 rounds, there's still great medal chances. Let's go to the men's one team, because after losing yesterday to Armenia, the men's team now had a chance today against Brazil. Brazil is not like a super strong team. So on board 1, Hari Krishna was super solid. He drew. Board number 2, Vidit also drew his game. Then came the last 2 boards. But I must tell you, Hari Krishna, even though his position was completely drawn, he still kept on playing. The reason? He wanted to ensure that his team feels that he's still playing his game. So Hari Krishna was here, Vidit drew here, Arjun was playing exchange up, but the real magic happened on board number 4. Shashi Kiran playing here. Now Shashi Kiran was worse in the opening. He had -2 position as black. Over here, his opponent, now it's equal, should have played bishop e2. And game might have ended in a draw. But instead, he played the move bishop to e5, and I would like you to take time out and try to think how should black win in this position. Pause the video and figure out. The move that Shashi Kiran played here was the amazing move g4. This is such a fine move because you are making the e4 square for your knight. And if you take on f6, there is the intermezzo attacking the rook. And once the rook moves, I can take this bishop and I'm completely winning in that endgame. So, over here, the move that was played after g4 was bishop e2, but it was not enough. After I take, knight jump to g4, and now e5 bishop hanging, e3 pawn hanging, and it's all over. If you go bishop f4, I have e5 coming in, and it's just lost. So in this, Shashi Kiran won, and India won the match 3-1 with this fine score. India now comes back in this tournament. They are now on 14 points. The youngsters are on 15. And let's look at what our other 3 teams did. We have to move to that side to just figure out. So here we have the India women's B team, women's 2 team, and India 2 played amazing match against Switzerland. Look at this, 4-0. Vantika striking, Padmini striking, Marianne Gomes, and also Divya Deshmukh. What a win. They moved to now 13 points, and well, they're coming back. But also, another phenomenal result was India 3 striking against Estonia. You will see that Isha Karawade all solid on board 1, unbeaten. Nandita winning her game. She's now moved to 7.5 out of 9. Sahiti Varshini, 2nd win in a row for the youngster, and Vishwa Vasnawala sort of holding fort on the last board, 3-1 against Estonia. They also moved to 13 points. And lastly, the India 3 team in the men's and the open section is now, they also win their game. They beat Paraguay. Ganguly lost on board 1 against Axel Bachmann, but Sethuraman won, Karthikeyan won, Abhimanyu Puranik won, 3-1 victory. So, what are India's medal chances? 2 more rounds to go, and remember, in the last round, Team India cannot face Team India. So tomorrow is the highly crucial round in the open section because India takes on Uzbekistan, and Uzbekistan is right now in the sole lead. If India beats Uzbekistan, they will move to the sole lead. That's the India 2 team, the youngsters. So it's the battle of 2 youngsters of India and Uzbekistan, while the India A team faces Iran tomorrow in the open section. So both of them have great medal chances. In the women's section, our team is really well placed. Although they are on 15 points with other teams, they have played many strong teams already. And if they manage to win both the rounds, they can still win the gold medal. So as of now, let's end this video. Tomorrow is the day. Do tune in to the live commentary. This is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye-bye.